Wow, wow, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some absolutely breaking news. Keyshawn Davis, bruh, the man I told you was not going to be shelved. Top rank, even if he deserved to be shelved. Top rank is not in position no more to be shelving fighters when they've got expectations with their current roster, expectations coming from the zone. It's all about making the biggest, best fights that they can make. Or unless the fights have a certain plan aligned with the zone. Ladies and gentlemen, Keyshawn Davis took to his Instagram story and posted this. Announcement coming this week from Keyshawn Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, who is this man gonna fight? All the eyes are now on Keyshawn Davis because this opponent is gonna be very, very important on who this opponent is. As the man ducked one of the biggest opportunities of his career, the biggest payout, a fight that they petitioned for, a fight that he was aligned with, that he had agreed with Jay Prince's and Shakur Stevenson's plan. It's going to be very important who Keyshawn Davis is fighting next. I'm hearing from I see other content creators out there predicting that maybe Frank Martin is next. Maybe Frank Martin is next. He just got signed to Top Rank. Like I said, the zone wants the biggest, best fights to be made. There's only a certain number of events that the zone has given. Top Rank, they expect them to deliver, ladies and gentlemen. No more of this bullcrap. Retarded fights, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hearing that it could be Frank Martin. The problem with that is, for me at least, don't get me wrong, it's an exciting fight. It seems like it's going to be an exciting fight at least. But this is all being held within the same goddamn circle, ladies and gentlemen. Look at who Keyshawn Davis just fought Nahir Albright in a rematch. And look who he just fought before that. Jermaine Ortiz. A guy that Nahir Albright lost to, right? Nahir Albright lost to both Keyshawn and Jermaine Ortiz. Nahir Albright is coming off the rematch with Keyshawn Davis. But before that, a draw with Frank Martin, ladies and gentlemen. So I say to myself, Keyshawn just beat the dude that just had a draw with Frank Martin. Frank Martin at 140 pounds now, coming off Orantis Barthelemy. Knockout win in the 4th round. Incredible win. Nobody had ever did that to Orantis before. You're talking about guys like Gary Antoine Russell. It took him 6 rounds to do it. Jose Ramirez went to decision. Robert Easter Jr. went to decision. Frank Martin knocks this man out towards the back end of Orantis Barthelmely's career. Let's be real, but knocks him out in fantastic fashion. Definitely a great way that you would like to come back after taking a year and a half off, taking your first loss to Gervonta Tank Davis getting knocked out. There was a lot of hype behind that. We said, ooh, Frank Martin looking good. He's going up against Nahir Albright. Although Nahir Albright is an awkward fighter, I feel like Frank Martin should win that fight. Went in there and had a draw. Keyshawn Davis then fights the winner. The Nahir Albright, ladies and gentlemen. He had a draw, but then fights Nahir Albright for the second time, which nobody wanted to see. And now he's going to the man who had a draw with him, Frank Martin. Frank Martin could have even stopped Nahir Albright when both Jermaine Ortiz and Keyshawn beat him. You could have even stopped Nahir, and now you're fighting Keyshawn? Although styles make fights, I feel like Keyshawn Davis is going to run through a Frank Martin, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the honest truth. I feel like I would have rather seen the Devin Haney fight. I would have rather seen a possible Dalton Smith, a Gary Antoine Russell, a Brian Norman Jr. What happened with that? I thought Keyshawn Davis was going to campaign at 147 pounds now. Now the man is in talks with fighting Frank Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. I'm going to tune in. It's going to be an exciting, ferocious fight. Anytime that Keyshawn Davis fights, it's always an exciting, ferocious fight inside the ring. I criticize the man for the decisions that he makes, for things that he does outside of the ring. But when he goes inside the ring, he can fight. And he'll put a hell of a fight on. Frank Martin, he ain't no slouch. He's not just going to come in here and bow down. But there's other fights that we wanted to see. Brian Norman Jr. said he was ready to sign the line. He was ready to sign. But it looked like you didn't want to fight the man either. So you don't fight Devin Debo Haney. You don't fight Brian Norman Jr. And now you're campaigning at 140 pounds against a non-world champion. Well, I say to myself, you know, keeping it within the circle still, Keyshawn, what's going on? Is this the last fight on this Top Rank contract, ladies and gentlemen? Did Top Rank just sign Frank Martin to feed him to Keyshawn Davis? Is that what's going on here? On his last fight of his contract, when they know he's going to Zuffa? When they know he's leaving? The man wants to get paid more than what he's worth. And where are guys going to get paid more money than what they're worth? Zuffa Boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, they're currently overpaying a lot of fighters right now, trying to build a company, trying to get all the big names to come over. What happened to 147 pounds? Are you no longer campaigning there? You're moving back down to 140? Are you planning on becoming a 140-pound world champion if it's against Frank Martin? Ladies and gentlemen, I personally hope it's not. I hope it's against Brian Norman Jr. A more respectable fight. I truly, truly hope so. But I'm seeing people say it's Frank Martin. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if it is, if she's ducking opportunities from Devin Debo Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Dude said he was ready to sign the line. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think, though. The dude's going to make an announcement this week. All eyes are going to be on Keyshawn Davis and who he picks. It's going to be very important. If it's somebody random, oh my goodness, man. Then we know exactly why Top Rank is feeding him to somebody like that. Because he is on his last fight of his contract. And if he's planning on leaving Top Rank, why feed him somebody that's going to set him up for a big fight in the future? Unless he's not going to Zuffa Boxing and signing under some other promotion company under DAZN. And DAZN's letting Top Rank know, like, hey, you better not stop the momentum. Because I don't care if he's leaving you, Top Rank, he's going over to Matchroom. I'm just saying, he's going over to, I'm using them as an example. He's going over to Matchroom. So we still want this to be good for him. We're setting him up for the big fights and our company up for the big fights. Let me know what you guys think, though. Let's see how this all ends up playing out. If Frank Martin is the guy, he better beat Frank Martin, bro. He has to beat Frank Martin. If not, coming off a Debo Devin Haney duck, my goodness. Very interesting fight. There's one thing that does come to my head. I think about Andy Cruz and the way he used to be able to beat Keyshawn Davis. Frank Martin is probably going to be on his back foot, moving and moving and moving. I know people are going to use that as an argument, as an example, but time has passed, man. Keyshawn Davis has got extremely better since those days, and the professional fights are completely different than the amateur fights. Let me know what you guys think, though, man. Absolutely interesting. I'm out.